Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I will analyze a romantic poem by William Wordsworth called The Solitary Reaper. But before we start analyzing, let's read the poem. Behold her, single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, reaping and singing by herself. Stop here, O gently pass. Alone she cuts and bends the grain, and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the vale profound is overflowing with the sound. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands of travellers in some shady hunt. Among Arabian sands, a voice so thrilling never was heard. In springtime from the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow for old, unhappy, far things and battles long ago? Or is it some more humble lay, familiar matter of today? Some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been and may be again? Whatever the theme, the maiden sang, as if her song could have no ending. I saw her singing at her work, and over the sickle winding I listened, motionless and still. And I mountained up the hill, the music in my heart I bore, long after it was heard no more. Now, let's see what are we going to discuss. First, we will look at the structure of the poem, then the setting, and finally, we'll highlight the use of some poetic devices. The poem contains 4 octaves, beautifully written in iambic tetrameter and follows the rhyme scheme A B A B C C D D. Yon solitary highland lass. This line suggests that the poem takes place in a Scottish highland. Now, let's jump to poetic devices. First, we have apostrophe. It's a figure of speech in which a speaker directly addresses someone that is not present and cannot respond in reality. For example, we found it in the first line of the poem, Behold her single in the field, and in the 7th line, which is Oh, listen, for the vale profound. It's a direct address asking the readers to look at the girl, but in reality, the readers are not with the speaker to look at her. Now, let's talk about imagery. We can define it as the language used to create images in the mind of the reader. It's found in the first line of the poem, reaping and singing by herself, and also in more welcome notes to weary bands. As we know, imagery is used in a literary work, enable readers to perceive things involving their 5 senses. Now, metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech that states one thing is another thing, not because they are the same, but for the sake of comparison and symbolism. In stanza 3, there are 2 comparison pictures with the girl's voice. The first one is there are a group of people who are traveling in the Arabian desert for a long time, and they are looking for a place to rest. They saw a tree. Above this tree is a nightingale who is singing to them a welcome song. Now the poet says that the girl's song is much better and beautiful, more than the welcoming song from this nightingale. The second one is the song of the girl was much better than the song of the cuckoo bird, which is singing in the early morning and has a thrilling voice, and so strong that it goes through the seas to reach the farther islands of the Hebrides in the middle of the ocean. Finally, let's discuss rhetorical questions. They are questions asked in order to create a dramatic effect or to make a point rather than get an answer. We can find them in stanza 3. Will no one tell me what she sings? That has been and maybe again, familiar matter of today. Um, these questions reflect a sense of wonder, which is a feature of romanticism, and it reflects secondary imagination, which we'll discuss it now. As we know early that Wordsworth didn't feel the experience of seeing the girl doing her work, and looking is a function of the eye. So he is calling his readers to imagine the scene. Now, according to the Romantic theory, there are two types of imagination. The first one is primary imagination, and we can define it as the power of receiving impressions of the external world through the five senses. And we can clearly see that in the first stanza of the poem, when the speaker invites his readers to behold the girl looking at her and listen to her song, even when we know that it's imagination. Either the speaker and the reader didn't see the girl and listen to her music. The second type is secondary imagination, and we can define it as the result from the primary imagination. It's the impact that left from the primary imagination and define people, poets from common people. We can find the secondary imagination in the third stanza when the speaker was wondering about the song, what's about. So because he was guessing about the song, and in this case he's not quite sure and he's wondering, so he needs to kind of imagination, which is the secondary imagination. And in the last stanza, when the speaker left the girl and mounted up, he carried the music in his heart, although we know that he didn't saw the girl and he didn't listen. It's all in imagination, so it's the secondary imagination. This is the end of our presentation. I hope it was useful, and thanks for watching.